Hi.
Yeah, hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to Conversations in Pop Culture. We are back in the saddle for another season. And before I really introduce my guest, I do want to remind everybody that you should go and check out LFC because I love that company. And it's a really cool company. And if you like wrestling and a bunch of other stuff, maybe a little bit of wrestling, maybe a little bit of clothes, maybe a little bit of MMA, it's right for you. But enough about that because I have with me, obviously, LFC fighter, wrestler, model, entrepreneur Bella Rockafella. So welcome to the show.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited because obviously I've been watching a lot of LFC. I've been watching a lot of other things you've been doing. A lot of fun stuff. Did a lot of research. But before we talk about LFC, because me and Tommy were talking about this, I heard a rumor that you're not from America originally.
No, I'm South African. We immigrated during the apartheid, and like my family worked closely with Nelson Mandela, and they were anti-apartheid. They were actually communists. So didn't get along well with other African political parties. And I'm American. American is high, I guess you can say. I mean, I grew up in Nebraska, so it doesn't get really much more American than that. I think the heartland is one of the places that like America, like the values of America really thrive,
Yeah, no, I just found it very, very interesting because I don't think I've interviewed somebody who is originally from South Africa. And then you come to the States, and then obviously you're in Midwest, sort of, I guess, West, for lack of a better word.
It's the heartland. I mean, I grew up there. I'm currently based out of Santa Cruz, California, which feels like home to me. Like, beach meets forest. Okay,
But yeah, so I just wanted to get that out of the way because I was super fascinated by it, and then Tom was like, "I'm not too sure either now." And it was a very funny conversation with Tommy Bell. And I love Tommy Bell because he's just a fantastic person. He's like my art style all compiled up together. But I do want to talk about LFC though because that's where I know you from mostly. And so how did you get into LFC? Because that's the thing that's super interesting. I know you had a bunch of fights. I think you started off as a prospect and then all that stuff. So how did this come about? Because it's a cool company.
Yeah, it's really great. I'm really grateful to be a part of it. And well, I started off, my very first wrestling anything was with Bella Inc. for Glam. Glam, in case you don't know, it is mud wrestling. It's got a very like cheesy 80s theme to it. Great storylines, following the characters along as they go. It's so much fun. So my first thing was mud wrestling with Bella Inc. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, Bella Rockafella, you need to do this, and this. And I'm in the LFC, and you should really, talk to the owner and see if you can get in. I know that they're going to be adding new girls on soon." So I sent Sean, the owner of LFC, my Instagram, my modeling pages, my everything. And he's like, "Yeah, okay. Well, we got this thing with prospects. So we're going to put you in for voting." And I just happened to win along with Bella Madison.
Yeah, she might be coming out on Monday, oddly enough.
Okay, honey. It's your week of Bellas.
I'm going to change like 14 other people to Bella too. It's going to be really, really funny. It's going to be great. But well, even talking about that, so.
What'd you say?
Oh, no, you first.
I said, I called Tommy Bella because, well, he's Tommy Bell. It might as well be Tommy Bella. Like he's just might as well jump in and join our Bella crew,
Yeah, so even Tommy Bell is just a fantastic person, just a fantastic person. So many people are waiting on him to draw them. Oh, he's got to kick it out. He's got to kick it out.
He's got something really cool coming up for me pretty soon. We still have yet to talk about some of like the ideas and the theme, but it's mainly, how well in LFC I walk out with. Is this the right time to bring up the man puppy? I guess.
Yeah, you can bring it up. We can talk about Breaking Man all you want.
Okay, so I walk out with a man puppy, which is a man on a leash. and he does whatever I tell him to do. He sits, he stays, he walks, he goes back. And so I would really like to make some, merchandise or a new poster or something with that theme on it. And so Tommy and I are going to be rolling out some like mugs and t-shirts and stickers and all kinds of really cool stuff related to the man puppy.
So let's even talk about that, because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I enjoy. I get that people are, I think the right word is kinky, for lack of a better word. Somebody said to me, vanilla is very boring. And I tend to think that vanilla is boring. So where did that idea come from? Because I think it's funny. I think it's pushing the line. I don't think it's going RVD, Katie Forbes pushing the line on Impact on what
Yeah.
they did a while back that got them kicked off Twitch for like a week, which was great in a lot of ways, but really bad in a bunch of other ways. But what is that like? Because that's kind of what I feel LFC does really nicely sometimes, is that they push the line, but they also stop.
Well, yes, but so for the man puppy, I am a dominatrix, so I said, well, why not incorporate some of that into the LFC as well? And considering that just about anything goes, just about, uh, Sean was totally okay with it, and finding a prospect to be my man puppy wasn't very hard. Now I've had 2 different man puppies, and I am looking for a 3rd man puppy. Somebody who wants to join me on the next LFC fight, in case you know of anybody who might be interested.
I would, if I did not have a good job. and potentially, I think if my parents ever found out, I would get killed.
That's not.
I think the look of disappointment on their face would say it all.
Enough to kill with looks to kill. That's what they say, right?
More of my mom. I don't think my dad would care too much. I think my mom would just be like in shock, and it would be like Thanksgiving and Christmas would be really awkward.
No, yeah, we don't want to do that.
But yeah, no, because I think it's great. I think it's funny. I enjoy it. I think it's fun to do stuff like that. I also think vanilla is boring, and that's kind of what I think. And I think it's just great that that's incorporated. And why not, right?
Well, exactly. Why not? I just really wanted to push the limits and do something that no one else has done either. And I know, a lot of the girls are into that scene as well. So I just, I like to push the limits, push people's limits, so that's how I went about that. And it seems to be working really well, and it's great fun for me. And the man puppy has a great time too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're the most important thing in that entire engagement, but
yeah, offer special beatdown services before and after if they're interested.
again, it is to each their own, and there's a place and time for all of this, is all I'm gonna say.
Damn right.
So even though, to go back to LFC, I mean, I think your first fight was against Bella Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like? Because there was a lot of build up to that too. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I know you did your song, she did her song. It was very much, I felt WWF, old school, copycatting, playing the pop star thing. A lot of fun I felt was going into it. And then obviously the match happened. And I felt like there was a story there.
Well,
versus,
to be honest with you, I did get actually really angry with her for copying my style, because at first she was, I don't know if you guys know, but at first she was T-Bella, right? And now she's Bella Madison. And then, there was the whole thing with the song. And I'm just like, bro, come on. Aren't there enough Bellas? Can't you just stay T-Bella? That sets you apart. And I get it, everybody wants to be a Bella, but, not everybody can be a Bella. And T-Bella, I'm still down to take you down again, because you know what? You might have got the best of me last time, but there's definitely a rematch for us in the future. I know that.
Yeah. I would like to see that fight again. I enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed the build up to it. Yeah. I enjoyed that. But even going further into that, because LFC is expanding very rapidly. Mm-hmm. And they also have a lot of moving parts that have come in and out of that company in a lot of ways. And so what is that like for you too? Because at this point, LFC has a lot of different angles where they've had people who have been in professional wrestling. promotions. They've had people who have no desire to go that way. They've had people, for lack of a better word, I guess, are more adult. They also have people who are just into fitness. And
Uh-huh.
then you have a bunch of other stuff. You have session wrestlers in there too. And so what is that like? Because it's a very unique breed of athleticism
Yeah.
that is across every sector, and it allows for a lot of possible fights, for lack of a better word.
Very true. And that's actually what makes it really interesting, because you never know who you're going to fight, you know? So like, it's just a matter of training in whatever your field is. Like for me, it's MMA. I like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I like kickboxing. And then tying it all together is what is, MMA. It's a bit of everything. So I just stay with my training on that. And then I'm sure that whoever I'm up against, I know what I'm doing, so like whether or not they know what they're doing, we'll see. But like, but yeah, so it's cool because you've got all kinds of different people come from all walks of life, and it really makes it interesting and fun. And the personalities that you meet on the shows are also really great as well. So, everybody's got something going on for them, which is cool.
Yeah. And then even talking about the Shaylin fight too.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun one too. And so even that, because that was also a very different fight than Bella Madison in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Shaylin fight was a little unexpected. We we were actually pretty close beforehand, and it just what can I say? Things didn't go as planned.
So
That's
a bad breakup is a nice way to put it.
What's that?
A bad breakup, maybe?
Yeah, kind of. Things get shifted and juggled around, and it just didn't go as planned. That's all I can say about that. But I can guarantee you and my LFC fans that I'm coming back with a vengeance this time. There's no way I'm losing my third fight at all. Third time's a charm. This time is going to be a winner. And whoever I'm going up against, that bitch is going to go down. That's it.
I'm excited for that. What is that, like Valentine's Day, or is it Valentine's Day weekend, I think, or is it around there?
Around there, yeah. I'm not exactly too sure on the dates. It was supposed to be at the end of January, and I think they changed it. So I'm still kind of like waiting to hear back on what that deal is.
And then even going beyond just the fighting side of LFC, I mean, LFC is not just an MMA wrestling entertainment platform, for lack of a better word. They do a lot of stuff with reality. There's a lot of stuff with photo shoots. There's a lot of stuff with podcast stuff. There's other things that are going on with it. And so what is that like? Because it is a media company, first and foremost, versus just a wrestling company.
It's so much fun to be a part of it, because it also feels a bit like the WWE. Except less clothing.
Mm-hmm.
I actually used to be a television producer, and I worked on the show Total Divas, and I got to follow the girls around and see what their lives were like. And as much as like, I wish the LFC had a tour schedule like they do, but unfortunately, fortunately, it's just still a company that's growing. And the larger it gets, the more fans they get, the more tours we can book. So it's still, the possibility for it to end up like that is really high, and it would be awesome. And I really I love the WWE, and everything that they did for the Total Divas show was so cool. And I think Sean is heading in that direction, to be honest.
Yeah, so even to talk about that, because I think this is one of the things that people don't understand about WWE, and I said this before, and I got a lot of shit for it. I said WWE is like Disney, and all these companies are becoming more and more like Disney, where they're becoming owning their IPs. Essentially, they're becoming more media centric. They also are utilizing and leveraging their IPs, their live events, and I think it's a very cool thing, because it not only benefits the company itself, but the performers on it. You look at people like John Cena, you look at people like The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then I keep going down the list, but all those people have brands now. I mean, look at the Bella Twins.
Right.
I'll throw a name out there. Mandy Rose is going to make more money in the next 2 years than she ever made in WWE now that she's out of that company, in so many ways.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of things about them taking advantage of their stars, and that's not okay. Sean definitely does not use abuse our talents in that way, or we don't have that issue in the LFC, and hopefully it'll never get that.
But even going further than that, and sorry to interrupt you, but LFC to some degree has also helped build you a brand, and it also has helped to expand who you are
Yes,
in a lot of ways. And so, what is that like too? Because you're just not in LFC. I mean, you were in glam, and then there's a bunch of other stuff we're going to talk about, and you do other things outside of LFC. And so, what is that like for you? Because I feel LFC is a jumping off point just as much as it's a jumping in point.
it is. You know, I've been Bella Rockafella for about 10 years now. I only recently just started getting back into modeling because I had like a full time career before, and so it has been extremely helpful in making wrestling a full time job for me, and allowing me to go back to school for like to finish my degree in neuroscience. So like, I am so happy and fortunate to have this opportunity that I can work doing what I love and still go to school. And it's I feel like I'm in a very fortunate position because partially because of LFC, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, and then even we mentioned at the start of this, but I do want to talk about glam a little bit too
Oh,
because one of my favorite people wrestled in glam, Stephanie Stalls.
okay.
That's old school. That's old school. So anybody who's old school is gonna be like, oh shit, he goes back.
Yeah.
I love the way that girl looks. That woman looks is fucking fantastic. She still looks good.
Hell yeah.
But what is that like? Because it's obviously 80s mud wrestling, a lot of Bella Inc. matches, a lot of I think Madison Swan, a lot
Madison
of
Fun is an amazing friend of mine, by the way. I just have to throw that out there. Love you, Ducky.
because it's kind of fun, and
Oh,
I
so
may
fun.
or may not have bought some of those clips. I will
Yes.
plead the fifth. I will plead the fifth on that one. But what is that like? Because it is cool, and there's a place for it, and it's a fun thing to watch.
Well, first of all, the producer and owner is incredible to work with. Like one of my favorite people to work with, and he is so just creative. Like I would have never thought that even mud wrestling was as big as it is, and I think that like he's got a huge part in that because he's like taking it back to its cheesy like 80s roots where you know, you're just getting naked, rolling around in the mud and fighting each other, basically, with a storyline that's hilarious. So, yeah, I have a great time working with him, and it's all because of him that I met Bella Inc. So essentially, it's his fault. So y'all go
Yeah,
on and
see, I love it. I love it, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hot. Not
you
gonna
gotta
lie.
check out the glam that videos if you haven't. They're so good. They're so good.
It's pretty hot. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I definitely enjoy it in a lot
Have
of
you
ways.
ever tried mud wrestling?
What would you say?
Have you ever tried wrestling?
I have not. I am not opposed. I am not opposed to it.
It is so much fun. I highly recommend it to everyone. It's so much fun.
No, seriously, I'm not opposed to it. I think it'd be a blast. I think it'd be fun. I would much prefer though to wrestle in Jello. I think wrestling in Jello would be a blast.
I haven't done that one yet. I just feel like it would be a little too sticky, you know? I mean, I'm okay with the baby oil. I'm okay with the mud. I don't know. I, the Jello was like I guess it's the sugar in it. I'm not a big sugar person, so like even just having it on the outside of my body, I don't know.
I'm like I love sugar. I love sweets.
I got
And
it.
I'm
Okay.
just terrible. I'm just terrible. I have to cut it out. I have to cut it out terribly. Like I have to like lose like 20
Let
pounds.
it out.
I just need like somebody just to like be like smack it right out of my hand like a donut and just be like no, just smack it right out. It'd be great. But I do encourage people to check that out because it's pretty hot and it'll definitely arouse something in somebody. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Even going beyond this too, and obviously one of my favorite people in the world is Jen Thomas,
Oh,
and Women
yeah.
on Fire is a very cool platform, and it's beyond wrestling at this point, where there's a wrestling component to it, but it's almost a promotion agency as well. And so, what is that like to be part of that? Because a
Dude.
lot of talented people are involved, again, from
Mhm.
a boatload of different areas. And
Yeah, dude, Jen is amazing. Like any problem I've had with clients where whatever situation has come up, she's available to speak to me whenever I need her. And she's just so sweet and so genuine and like honestly one of my superheroes, one of my role models in this world because she's strong, she's independent, she's just she's an entrepreneur. She really takes the the bull by its balls. You know what I mean? Like fuck its horns. She gets it by its balls and like rolls it around. Like
yeah, so what is that like? Because that also I feel has a lot of credibility at the moment, where a lot of talent people are there, a lot of smart, I guess, back engineering and front presentation is involved in that website and what they do, because it's not just wrestling, it's acting. There's other things involved as well. I don't know if stunt work is on this website, but I know that acting is, I know wrestling is, and modeling. And
yeah.
so it's really just a great platform. And it's also very female centric,
Hmm.
which, unfortunately, obviously with Me Too and Harvey Weinstein, that obviously was really pushed out for a very long time.
She has changed the platform around. It's become a more encompassing website, like you said. And she just there's even a space for men on there now. It's not just about women anymore, which is also great. Because like it's you know gender is what you're born with, right? But maybe it's not what you identify as. And today's world, it's like you can't really judge a person based off of their gender anymore. It's just yeah, I don't know, like I was happy that it was like a
I'm
few.
just saying it's long overdue, is all I'm saying, where things have evolved in the last 20 years,
Yeah,
where 20 years ago, just in society, we were not where we are today.
not
And then naturally, in another 20 years, we're not going to be where we are today either.
right.
And so, obviously, as things get more progressive and people, obviously expand, this website was long overdue a long time ago. And
Absolutely. But you can say that about a lot of things, of course. But like the only thing that we can look forward to is the future. We can look on our mistakes of the past, and the only thing we can do is learn from them and grow from them as a society and as a whole. So I believe that society is headed in the right direction, even though we've had minor setbacks such as the Roe versus Wade. That's disgusting. It's a horrible setback to me as far as women's rights go. Hopefully, we'll be able to reverse it again. It's just, created a lot more damage than it has good. And in my opinion, anyway, as a woman, valid, like, but let's not get too political. I just, I feel like we are evolving as a society, and we might have to take a few steps backwards to go forwards. So we'll see.
yeah, and then obviously, even going further into this too with Jen Thomas, I mean, I think you're part of Session Girls, right?
Mhm.
I love Session Girls. I think Session Girls is fantastic, and I think it's great for a lot of reasons. And obviously, I think Session Wrestling is amazing for what it does. I think people love it. I think it's cool that you can do it. I also think that custom wrestling as well is great, because I've been saying this, and I am a heavy investor in a lot of stuff. And what I've been saying for a very long time, my background, I love investing. I love making money, and
Good.
I run an eBay business. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And so what I've been saying for a while in media is that the three things that are going to dictate is when you can watch something, so on demand, big libraries, and original content,
Sure.
and also the ability for it to be cheap. And so custom wrestling hits the idea that if I want to see two wrestlers face each other in a match and I want a particular finish, there you go, because that is something I'm willing to pay a lot of money for,
Right.
especially if they don't get ever to have a match with each other at an indie promotion or an LFC or in Glam or, Women on Fire or wherever else it is. That's a real niche because I want to see two people go at it. And I'm sure that you want to face certain people that it's hard sometimes to get people together, or, it just has never worked out. And so I think it's really a wonderful thing. And I think it's an amazing service because if you're a fan of two people, there you go.
Yeah, that's how Bella Inc. and I had an oil wrestling match over the summer together, was because it was a custom match requested from the Women on Fire event that both of us were attending. Um, and yeah, that was great. No, she ended up kicking me in the knee at the end of our match, and um, the match was over, and she kicked me in the knee, and then my kneecap slid out of socket, and I was unable to work for 3 weeks. So
Yeah, let's also talk about that too, because I don't think it's a secret that wrestling is physical. In case anybody didn't know, now you know.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very physical. MMA is physical. LFC is physical, and you can do something safe, but it's still physical.
yeah,
I mean, not to bring up a bad point here, but look at what happened a few weeks ago in the football game. That is, I don't think it was an unsafe play, but something obviously happened. And football is a violent sport, but it's also it's gotten a hell of a lot safer, but things can still happen because you're playing a sport. And
right.
LFC is no different. Custom wrestling is no different. So, what is that like for you? Because things happen and then you get injured, and well, you're out for 3 weeks, and thankfully it was only 3 weeks.
Well, yeah, injuries happen. The best you can do is just take care of them as soon as they happen and not aggravate them anymore. Also, staying fit, working out strengthens your muscles, gives you less chance of an injury. Um, Unfortunately, our beef was personal, or was personal on her part. I tried to squash it. I had no idea what she was even mad at me about. She's like, "Oh, I don't like you because you didn't say goodbye to me at one of our photo shoots." And I was like, "Dude, you were shooting, and I had to go to a session. Like, what's the big deal? Like, I've been nothing but nice to her and thankful for her to her." And so I didn't really understand what her beef with me was about, right? So,
It's
for
problematic.
huh?
It happens. I'm in the comic book world too, and people have issues with each other all the time.
I was just
And
like, why? Like, seriously, I'm like the nicest person you'll ever meet. Unless you want to fight me. But anyway, so I was like, hey, let's squash everything because I'm like, I don't want to really fight.
yeah,
Like,
let's talk about that too, because
yeah.
yeah, let's talk about this, and not necessarily with her personal, but just in general. I mean, I
Mhm.
come from the comic world, and I have issues with certain people that will never get resolved because I feel they were disrespectful to me,
Mhm.
and they know who they are, and I just stay out of their lane. They stay out of mine. If they come stepping up to me, it'll be addressed in any which way I so choose. But they know that it's not a good idea to step up to me. But
Right.
if I offend somebody and I done something, I would much rather handle it privately. And there's been things where people have offended me, I've offended people, and then we've handled it because I'm a professional.
Yeah, right. No, talk like adults. You get over it. You are an adult. Like, it's part of communicating and being,
To a degree, but this is where my
well, yeah,
question is, I guess,
great.
rooted is that how do you handle yourself professionally? Because I think it's a big problem in everything right now. I think, and I have a very interesting opinion about COVID. COVID has forced two things. It's forced people either to grow up and become professionals, become nicer, or it's forced people to become meaner and regress.
Mm,
And I think it's forced those two things, and I don't think there's middle ground. I don't think anybody in the 2.5, 3 years in COVID you've gone one way or the other. And I've seen both.
yeah.
And so I find there's a lot less professionals in
Mhm.
every industry at the moment. And I'm curious how you feel about that, because that to me seems that's what I think at the very least.
Well, thankfully, I don't have a lot of contact with the outside world. Like, I do my sessions. I study. And I try to stay out of everything else. Like I don't, well, except for maybe politics, but that's another story.
That's called Twitter, but
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't, I agree with you that it has turned people one way or another. Um, I think people are less apt to handling social situations, right? They've almost forgotten their social skills. And I also believe people have become more for themselves, more like selfish, because they know, like, this is me now. Like, they know people got to spend a lot of time with themselves and during COVID. So they got to learn a lot about themselves and what they want and what they don't want. And so either they're going to take a stand fighting for it, or they're just going to like, or they'll talk to you about it, you know? So it's, yeah, obviously.
it's interesting because I made a very conscious choice in the middle of COVID. When COVID first hit, and I thought it was going to be 3 months, and I don't think I'm the only one who thought that. Not that things were going to go back down, but I said, "Cool, let me do all these interviews with people and start doing this show." And what I was doing, and what started happening is that I started speaking to people, and I said, "Cool, I'm so backed up in my first show that there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to get out any content. So let me go straight to live. Let me start posting more interviews and having a little bit of a change of style."
Sure.
And and it was selfish oriented, but I also said all these people are getting fucked. In which all these wrestlers were getting screwed over because all their events were getting canceled.
Oh,
And
sure.
if I can go put their t-shirt link up, maybe they can sell 3, 4 t-shirts. Maybe they can get $20, and
Mhm.
maybe in the middle of hell, $20 is a life raft.
It
That's
definitely
how.
is. Definitely is.
And so, but I started not to go crazy because I was speaking to people and I wasn't seeing many people outside of my building or running to the supermarket. And everybody was like cowering in the first,
Yeah.
6 months of COVID. But I was not going crazy because I was interacting with people in a somewhat face to face environment.
Right.
Obviously, through two screens, but still seeing somebody's facial emotions. And so, it partially selfish rooted, but also I said, there's a big problem here, and these people are getting really fucked. So that's how I wound up, I guess, being where I'm at right here. And I guess a bunch of people said, dude, you're kind of now a professional. And
Yeah.
I never thought of myself in that way. You handle yourself in a way. And I've gotten a lot of really interesting interviews with people in the comic world and in the cosplay world because I know how to shoot a professional email. And I think it's a lost skill. And I think it's going to be years before we swing back the other way. And I don't know what's going to be the impetus to bring that back.
Yeah.
And it's just, it would be so much easier if I was dealing with professionals all the time.
Yeah, that would be easier for everybody, but that's not the case. You know, like
Such a problem.
you know,
Um,
every
but I digress on that.
you know.
Um, but I do want to talk about the other stuff though, because I am somewhat interested in the adult stuff. I may or may not have a slight background in that too. I may be a consumer of it. I do appreciate dominatrix in a lot of ways. But I will plead the fifth on everything else on that point.
Okay, your secret's safe with me. No, I'm kidding.
A bunch of people know about it anyway, but it may or may not have saved my life is the point. But what is that like too? Because obviously, I mean, it's a fascinating lifestyle, and I find that women who break men are some of the most interesting people in the world.
Yeah, I can't say that it didn't take me getting broken first for me to learn how to break. It all started because of an abusive relationship that I was in. And I said to myself, I will never, ever, ever let that happen to me again, which is actually why I started training in MMA. Um, and then I just, channeled. That's actually my form of therapy in a way. And not to say that I don't see a therapist, because I do. I also believe in talk therapy, but like the physicality of it and like the empowerment that I get from it is what has really kept me going. I was really close to almost losing my life in the situation that I was in. So for me, it's been very cathartic.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of men who live crazy lifestyles, and being dominated is amazing because they're making serious decisions. And then when somebody else is making decisions for them, it alleviates huge amounts of pressure. And I do a bunch of weird stuff that alleviates pressure in my life for
Mm-hmm.
that same reason.
Yeah.
And anybody who says they don't do that either, you're lying. You're ultimately lying to yourself
Yeah.
and lying to everybody else. You just don't want to state it. But I find it so interesting. But yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
to me, it's a service to them. It's also a service to me. It's cathartic for them. It's cathartic for me. It's, in a way, it is a form of, a lot of people are going to be like, roll their eyes when I say this, but it is a form of therapy. It's a way for us to release our whatever we need to release in a safe environment. So for a lot of people who are afraid to explore that side of themselves, I would say, like, go for it. Explore with someone that you feel comfortable with, because it can be more cathartic and more therapeutic than you will ever know. You should try it. That's my opinion on it.
Yo, no, without a doubt. I think everybody should try it. And again, I'm going to plead the fifth.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to plead the fifth for a
Yeah.
lot of reasons. A lot of reasons.
Getting
But
up.
anyway, I do think though that obviously, and look, you don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to do anything. You could do it and just keep it to yourself and take it to the grave if you so choose.
Yeah.
And so, or you could do. It could be modified any which way.
I mean,
Technically.
it's private. If it is public humiliation you want, I will give you public humiliation. But for the most part, it's just private. And unless it's a specific order, like, hey, I want you to go on blast and tell Twitter that I just took it up the butt or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, whatever your kink is. And it's up to you. And that's the beauty in it also. It can be as soft as, just being tickled with feathers, or as hard as being humiliated, put in a dog cage. So it's like the level of intensity can go from 1 to 100, depending on how comfortable that person is.
Very much true. Very much true.
Yeah. How much they're
And
exploring themselves.
also one of the things, just so everybody is aware, you can say your limits.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so in a lot of ways, I guess the sub is in a lot of controls where, especially with a good dom,
Oh,
where a
absolutely.
good dom will know when if a sub says stop to stop.
Right. Yeah. And for me,
Hopefully.
it's about holding a safe space for people to share their interests in, and make them feel comfortable and safe more than anything. Because a lot of people are afraid to explore that side of themselves, because they're afraid that they're going to be judged, or whatever it is. But one of my main priorities as a dom is just to hold a safe space for people to express themselves, and to help them express themselves in the creative ways that we come up with together.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, you know what it is. The person who's judging you, if they find out and judging you, probably wants to do the exact same thing or something similar,
Either
and they're just
you're not
trying to
your
fuck you up.
friend, not your friend. Like, like, if my friends are judging me for something that, like, isn't hurting me, then I don't know. I would think twice if they're actually my friend. But like you said, there is a safe word.
Oh, I'm just saying that usually when people criticize, in my experience,
Oh,
they're usually jealous of what you're doing and the fact that they can't do it or they don't feel comfortable enough to do it or they're scared of what their peers are going to think. That's my experience in life.
generally, I mean, you definitely hit the nail on the head with that one too. It's people, haters are gonna hate because they want what you have. You know.
Yeah, and then definitely. So honestly, if somebody is judging you, say, you know what, you're right, and then just go do whatever the fuck you want to do
Or
because
the
it's
number
your life. It's
comment,
your
like,
life.
just give
That's
them the number to your dom and be like, hey, I know what it is that you actually want. You know?
This is what you do, everybody. Here's what you do. You say, here's her card.
Yeah.
That's all you do. Yeah, you just leave. You just leave. That's all you got to do.
Drops
Like,
mic. Yeah.
I got you. It's on me. Here you go. Here's
Right.
a
Just like
recommendation.
that. Yeah.
You're good. But I do want to talk about the other side of this because I know you have a bunch of clips, and I did research on that too. And so I know you have a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that involves rope. I know you have a lot of stuff that may involve feet. I think you have some other stuff, some gags.
Tickle
Um,
toes.
you got everything. So what is that like too? Because this is the best thing. So I am a huge dividend advocate in investing. I love the concept of passive, or as I like to call it, investor income. And
Absolutely.
so what people don't understand is that many vids, clips for sale. I want clips, I think, is the other one. I don't know if there's a fourth one. I'm not exactly familiar with a fourth competitor. I think those are the main three, right?
As far as I know, there.
OnlyFans too is like the fourth. And
Yeah.
then fan site, maybe?
I am still in the process of building my collection to post my own videos. I actually am meeting with my manager tomorrow to get all my clip sites set up, my personal clip sites. As of now, I've only been working for other producers, but I do plan on having like my own website to that leads to the other clip sites or the clip sites that lead to the website, that type of thing. I do have an OnlyFans that I work off of, but that's about like that is my personal only
Is
account.
the reason why I bring all this up is that all of those clips, all those many vids, it is a massive, massive passive income stream in a lot of ways. And I
Absolutely.
don't think people understand how valuable, or we could call it investor income. It's the same thing to me, but for all intents and purposes, it's passive income because you got to make the clip once. And then those sites take a piece of it. But again, you're not hosting it, and it's distributed collectively for the most part, pretty much anywhere in the world. And it's also very accessible for those people online or downloaded. And so what is that like for you? Because obviously when I guess you're an independent contractor for
Mhm.
the most part. And that's the thing people don't understand that is very, very important about business is that it's a business decision and there's a lot of money at stake technically over years and years and years.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as far as I go, like you get paid once as an independent contractor to make the video. And then that person whose video it is gets every other time that somebody buys it, which is great. Like for a girl just like starting out in this industry, it's great because you get the experience that you need and then you make the connections that you need, and you know you still work with these producers, you still help them make content and everything, but at the same time then you learn and you can make your own content from there, you know
And
which is
so because you're in that process, and it's also really important, I feel, for people who A, want to get into this business, and B, because I hate to say this and it's going to sound messed up, but unless you start prepping up this way, just for anybody collectively, you're going to get to the point where you're going to not have any money. And you need to set yourself up for later on in life and build out a passive income stream, I feel. And I feel like a lot of people collectively in America don't do that and in the world don't do it. And you need to
definitely.
start thinking.
No, it's definitely true. It is the best way for passive income. It is also the best way for you. Like I can't imagine being like 70 years old and be like, oh, hey, you want a session with me? Maybe as a dom, but like I wouldn't be able to do wrestling sessions. You know what I mean? Like, but still, like, why should I be working when I'm 70? I shouldn't. I should have enough passive income that provides me for a life, where I can retire. So, yeah,
Or you're doing something else where you create a business or you do something else because I'm going to be working till the day I die, but I enjoy working, but I own a business. I also have a day job. And so once I'm retired from my day job, I'm then going to focus on my business and just expand that and expand my next business and my third business and my fourth business. But I enjoy working. I enjoy building companies, and I enjoy taking a company from zero to having, 5, 6, 7 figures. It's a hobby. It's a task for me. It's a challenge. And
yeah,
that's where you go. And I feel like you're going to be, I don't know if you just want to sit on a beach. Maybe you do. I don't know. But I like to build things in my life.
well, I actually had a line of smoke shops in Mexico called La Santa. I built 13 smoke shops in Mexico. And unfortunately, my partner, who was also abusive, ended up taking everything because if you're married for less than 6 years in Mexico, you can have the marriage annulled. And I didn't know that. And so I got up and left, and he annulled our marriage and stole all my businesses. So I am also very much an entrepreneur. It's just a matter of applying that to what I'm doing now. And I finally like gotten enough motivation and recuperation from what happened to start focusing in on myself and
I
in.
know that feeling too. I know that feeling as well. Full
Mhm.
disclosure, I had a failed surgery 12 years ago. It took me 12 years to finally become, saying I'm ready to fix that problem. So I feel you where it's not just, oh, great, more one and done. I fell yesterday, and it took me about an hour to get back up and get out of my head because I just took a small fall, but it was a little bloody, and I just was like, fuck. But that took an hour to recover because that's a small issue. My
Mhm.
surgery took me 12 years to get over that
Wow.
whole trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. Trauma is a big deal, and it is something that needs to be looked at and healed. It is hard to heal sometimes, but we have it in us. We're humans. We are made to adapt. We are made to become better. We are made to learn. And if you're not doing any of those things, then you're failing as a human.
Yeah. No. There's a concept in life where you always have to be growing, and I'm reading a book right now called "Fuck Your Feelings." The
Oh
whole
yeah.
the,
Oh,
the
so I love this. It says the
Let,
fact.
let me let me explain the book before you go. The whole
Oh,
book point is not that your feelings matter. It's controlling what is your brain over your limbic system.
exactly. So
So
there's.
yeah,
Sorry, just to cut you off. The saying really quick. It says the facts don't care about your feelings, right? So, like, I think what you're going in to say is like when you get all into your emotions, your actual judgment is your logical judgment and ability to reason is diminished. Is that kind of what you're?
that's part of it. And it's also the idea, and I'll just expand onto it. Is let's say that you say, "Hey, look, I want to get into physical shape." You say, "Man, that apple pie looks really good, but I also want to eat healthier." So you could say, I feel like eating apple pie today, but maybe I should, have a fruit cup instead. And so now you're saying my feeling system is saying, man, that apple pie looks really good. But wait a second, I'm trying to get in better shape, or I'm trying to eat better, or that's where it goes down to. Or what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your brain not to go off of feelings and say, cool, what's the logical decision here? And there's nothing wrong with eating apple pie. There's a time and place to eat apple pie all day long.
Or
I'm
keto
gonna
pie.
That true. That too. But the whole thing is that it's the also idea of saying, look,
Yeah.
for instance, I make a conscious decision to invest in the stock market. I made a conscious decision to activate and put a good chunk of my 401k and sacrifice. That doesn't feel good because that money can't be used to go and do something fun. But I also understand that in the long run, that my logical system overpowered the feel good system in that situation. But also investing makes me feel really good. It's weird, but both those things are on the same track. But that's what that book's about. And it's about really trying to, I guess, find and better your life.
I
It's
like
not meaning that you should not feel angry about a situation in your life.
this way.
Or if your boyfriend or girlfriend broke up with you, you have a right to feel. That's not what that's talking about. It's more about your decision making. It's a great book.
Or even like, hey, my boyfriend broke up with me. I really want to eat this whole tub of ice cream, but I also don't want to get fat. Like that's like you can't just eat your feelings away. There are more creative ways to deal with feelings, including writing them down. Journaling is like one of the best things I can do for myself therapeutically. And it helps even just writing down like, hey, I want to eat this tub of ice cream, but I'm not gonna do it because I'm strong and I'm stronger than that or whatever it is, to make yourself feel better. But it is about empowering the self in moments of weakness instead of letting those moments of weakness take our power away.
Yes, very much true. Very much. And then the other thing I want to talk about with all this clip stuff that I think is also interesting and this also pertains to comics, and part of what my audience is into is protecting your intellectual property. I
Oh,
have this problem as a podcaster. I have this problem as a panelist talking about anime cons, and I've actually had to issue cease and desists to people on trying to steal some of my panel work that I've done. I have a very famous panel. I compared Attack on Titan to Fahrenheit 451 to The Walking Dead. Um,
whoa.
yeah. Super cool panel. Super
It
cool.
sounds amazing. I don't know it, but I want to,
But people have said, yo, could I have your slides? I'm writing a PhD paper. And I'm
Uh,
like, no. And then people have tried to run things similar. And people have said, tried to take slides and take clips of it. And I'm like, I've had to issue cease and desists.
sure.
Um, and even with this show and other things that I do. And so what is that like for you? Because obviously it's a problem in adult stuff, it's a problem in session wrestling, it's a problem in modeling, it's a problem in comics. So how do you protect that? Or is it that you just do the best you can with it? Because I don't know, it's complicated, I feel.
It is. There are people who want to use my name, right? Like, I ran into some porn star from Des Moines, Iowa, running herself as Bella Rockafella, spelled exactly like mine. I'm like, honey, no, I've had this name for 10 years. Try to get the Gmail address. You can't because I have it, like OGGGGGG, so like, um,
I mean, there was just a big case in comics, and might not exactly align politically with you, but it was an issue of the Comicsgate trademark that just broke, where somebody was using that trademark for a while and had it, and then somebody was trying to challenge it. And whether you agree with it or not agree with it, there is an issue of protecting something you have. And it's a good case because even if you disagree with it, if somebody was using something constantly, because the point of a trademark, from my understanding, is that if somebody's a wrestler, so if I'm a wrestler and I want to go under the name Bella Rockefeller, and I'm wrestling in a similar thing you are, there's going to be confusion.
yeah,
And that's the point of what a trademark is. Now, if I said it's Bella Rockefeller Nails and it's a nail salon in the middle of California,
it's different.
you might have a harder time arguing that one.
Yeah, just because of the nails part on it, I have not yet trademarked my name.
But you get where I'm going with the question.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really run into anyone else trying to use Bella Rockefeller. I own it on most platforms, if not all platforms, except for maybe Snapchat. Somebody who I've messaged before, but it's not like I can take that until I'm actually trademarked. So I would have to go through the trademark process just for my name. And that is only going to happen once I have my website and merchandise and things like that. It will happen, Snapchat girl. Just letting you know. You're going to lose Snapchat name.
They might just give it to you, in which that they might surrender it.
I was like, do you even know what I do with this name? I think if you did, you would change it,
Well, but even still, I mean, the issue of protection is so complicated right now.
Yeah.
And I don't really know an answer to it. I
Yeah.
work in somewhat compliance in my job. I work in a variety of areas, and then I just deal with this. And everybody in the comic community has no idea how to protect their stuff, because it also gets to a point, is that how much money do you have to protect it?
Well, that too. I'm also a musician, so I write music, and just being able to copyright that. Now, like, I was talking to another producer friend of mine who we were talking about SoundCloud. And apparently on SoundCloud, if you upload your music to them, then third parties can actually use your music in things. And then if you find it, you can get royalties from it. But you have to look for whoever's using your music. You're not being told that they're using it. They're just using it. So once you find them, you can get money out of it. Like, how fucked up.
It's messed up. It's messed up. I mean, it's a problem. I mean, I got into a very controversial last Friday talking about AI art, and I was hosting a panel on the topic, and that's a very controversial issue. And I mean, tonight's episode is a lot less controversial. We're talking about bankruptcies in comics. That's a lot less controversial than AI art. I promise everybody. But
I'd love to hear that episode. I'm very interested in the AI technology. As far as neuroscience is concerned, anyway, like biomechanical implants.
I'm interested in it for a different reason. So I work in accessibility, And so AI can be very efficient. It can make my job about 50 times easier, which is
Sure.
good because if I get paid and I have to do 50 times less the work and I get paid the same, what do I care? And then I work in an education company. So
Will
it's
you
phonics
get
and reading. What'd you say?
will you get paid the same if your job is less
I
difficult?
probably will get paid more, to be honest.
That's
Um,
that's amazing for you, but it's a little crazy.
because I still need to monitor and make sure that it'll work. My job's not going away with AI.
Okay.
The job will change because AI will only get all text done for us faster, but I still have to manually check. So my title and my positions will change,
Mhm.
and I'm still a compliance officer. So I still have to make sure it's compliant. And
Right.
so AI only makes it cheaper to get what needs to get done. It doesn't, I still have to direct where the AI has to go to work.
Okay.
So now I have to direct and find a way how to find the problem and also fix the problem. So if I can eliminate half my position and now that, but I digress. I might even be writing the software at some point and then I'll 508 section it, which is a
Ooh,
whole different position. Whole
yeah,
different. That's lobbyist me.
I love
Um,
it.
in case anybody doesn't know what my background, I spent a while in DC, so I'm very very. I know where all the bodies are buried.
Very
Um,
talented. That's great.
but I digress on that one. But yeah, no, it's really just a fascinating thing about that, and the way I view it is that the only reason why I got connected with Tommy Bell is I knew who Tommy was, and then I was interviewing Shelby Paris, and I wore that shirt because I submitted a question on one of the podcasts that they were talking with Sean. They're like, "Yo, dude, we'll send you a shirt. It's cool." I have this shirt with Jolene Hex's ass on it. Um,
Nice. Yeah.
I wish I bought a few more of them. My mom hates
Have
it.
extras. I don't know.
Yeah. No. I'll buy one off you if you have an extra. It'd be great. It'd be fantastic because my mom hates it, and I'm like, I love it.
Oh no.
Anyway, every time I wear it to like Texas Roadhouse, and I have like a male waiter, he's like, "Bro, where'd you get that shirt?" It's great. It's great. He's like, "Yo, dude, can I speak to you for a minute over here? Like,
Oh
where'd you
my
get that
God. That's
shirt?"
so funny. Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh,
But I digress right there too. But obviously, I mean, a lot of stuff's going on. You have a fight coming up. I don't know who are you fighting in February.
I don't know yet.
That's great. That's the
You know.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna tell the Tommy Bell story. I get distracted. So the only reason why I found out is I was interviewing Shelby about Tommy. Is I was like, oh, I'll get to Tommy eventually. And then what wound up happening is he apparently somebody made a clip and cut up a bunch of stuff talking about it. And I was the first one there. And then I was somehow tagged in. I'm like, oh shit.
Okay.
Like, but I don't mind if people take my work from an interview if I'm credited
Hmm.
because that accreditation is a lot more valuable for exposure than anything else. But also, it's a podcast interview. It's not music. If somebody took 5 panels from a book I wrote, that'd be different too. So, but
Yeah.
a podcast to me, somebody takes a clip. But if you also take a 10-minute clip and then put it on your YouTube channel straight up raw, that's a problem.
Yeah. Right.
But if they took a clip of me asking you something that was 30 seconds and they played in a live show, that to me is not, I'm not going to strike it down.
Oh, it's also in a way it's free advertising, right?
But I digress right there too. But anyway,
Okay.
a lot of stuff we spoke about. I definitely like the adult stuff, but I'm going to plead the fifth on a lot of that stuff. I may or may
Yeah.
not have seen a bunch of it. You do look good is all I'm going to say on that point. But
Yeah.
I figured I could say that without getting too much offending anybody.
You're not offending me that way. Let me tell you. Thank you. Thank you.
I have a day job. I have to watch what I say in case somebody who's from my company sees this eventually.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to deal with HR.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to drop the F-bomb earlier either, but thank
No,
you.
no. Cursing is fine. That's not the issue.
All right.
I'm
Thank you
more scared about the adult stuff, if anything. I mean, I curse all the fucking time on my show. My boss curses every 5 seconds at my job. It's not a big deal. The problem is that whenever you're dealing with adult stuff, people always get a little antsy. They get a little antsy. And I'm like, Why not though? I mean, when you become 21, isn't it pretty much all you're thinking about is sex and all that fun stuff? I mean, let's
Yeah.
just be realistic about it. I think about it all the time.
That's all they need. They just need a Rockefeller treatment. That's it.
Mhm. Remember, the newspaper was upside down and the shoes were on the wrong feet.
What?
That's all I'm going to say on that one.
Okay. Yeah.
And the other Rockefeller, the only time in U.S. history where the president and the vice president were not elected was Gerald Ford and Nelson Rockefeller.
Rockefeller. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The vice president and the president of the United States were both not elected.
That's
Crazy facts today.
facts. Dropping them.
But I don't want to keep you here any longer, but I do want to give you a chance to self-promote yourself. A lot of stuff is coming on.
Yeah.
I know you used to have pink hair. I know you're trying to get Tommy to dye his hair pink.
No. Yeah. Well, you can find me on Bella_Rockafella_. That's my Instagram. I'm not working with Facebook anymore. They don't really like me. They have an algorithm that like kicks me off every time I open up a page. Cool, true story. So that's BELLA_ROCKAF as in Frank ELLA_, or on Twitter, where things get a little bit more naughty. It's at BELLAROCKAF as in Frank ELL the number 4, not an A at the end. So Bella Rockafella 4. Because I also have 3 and 2 and 1, and that's another issue. And then you can find me on my OnlyFans, which is just straight up Bella Rockafella. So, or email works too, BellaRockafella@gmail.com. However you want to get a hold of me, I'm down.
Well, on that note, I'm just going to say it, and I've been saying it for almost 3 years now. You have to support what you like. You have to support indie wrestling. You have to support indie MMA. You have to support LFC. If you like something, you need to support it and financially support it, because without money, it doesn't get made. It's just a fact. And you know, it is. And also the people you like, performers, musicians, obviously Bella Rockefeller, what she does in any capacity.
The arts.
If you like it, you need to support it, because money is the ultimate, I guess, compliment, and it also allows something to continue. And
it makes the world go round, you know?
And then even going further into that as well, and let's say that money's tight, following people on social media, following somebody on Instagram, Twitter. Obviously, you don't have Facebook, but if you do have Facebook at some point, following you there, whatever other social medias you have, because it might not seem like a big deal, but it does help in a lot of ways. I recommend, and also when people have merch, and I know it's coming, buying somebody's merch, because merch, even for performers, is a supplemental income, and it's so helpful because things happen. And
even just passing through the holiday season, everybody's with their families. So a girl like me doesn't get a lot of work, you know? So merch, passive income through videos, is also very, very, very helpful. So thank you for everyone that has contributed to me and my success so far. Just want to throw that out there.
And then as far as I'm concerned, I'm just going to quickly promote myself. Obviously, I appreciate when people subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, wherever else this show goes. I really appreciate that, because it does help. That's one of the best ways how to support this. Also, follow me on social media at Pop Anime Comics, Pop Anime Comics Twitter, Pop Anime Comics Instagram, Pop Anime Comics on Facebook. Goes a long way. Goes a long way. Means a lot to me. Actually sharing out the interview also goes a long way. It's a click of a button on most sites. It's easily doable. I greatly appreciate when people do that. Furthermore, subscribing on YouTube, Pop Anime Comics, very helpful as well, so you don't miss anything that I'm doing. And I do have Buy Me a Coffee. If you would like to contribute to that, it's not necessary. But again, I am independent media. So independent media, sometimes I have ads on my show, sometimes I do not. And so independent media has kept me alive all this year with my Kickstarter that I ran last year, and that I got shit for, but it kept me alive. And I'm right now, obviously, every once in a while, somebody throws me $5, and it really helps to cover StreamYard and Hootsuite and a bunch of other tools that helps keep me active. And I greatly appreciate it for anybody who does that. And again, though, not necessary. I really appreciate a share, though. That's what really makes me feel really good because I want people to see this stuff. I do have t-shirts as well on Redbubble. So that's another way how to support me. It's anime stuff. So, and I got a few more coming. But again, that's ready to order. 16 different colors, and it is available in a mini skirt too. Purposely,
Woo!
I requested that. Because I thought it was funny. And it's perfect. I do not have mugs.
Ooh.
I have a mini skirt.
Here, I'm gonna buy one.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Maybe if I come to Vegas, I'll wear a mini skirt and I'll come out as your man pup in a mini skirt.
I'd love to have you.
It'd be really funny. It'd be really funny too.
No.
Anyway, and then I'll come back and I'll land in New York and then I'll be fired the next day from my job, but it'll be fine. They'll be like, HR will call me in. It'll be great. It'll be hilarious. They'll be like, was that you, Andrew? I'll be like, I guess.
We can put a mask on you.
I actually do have a wrestling mask too, which is really funny, but that's not the point. But anyway, I'm gonna give you the final word now that I don't know on Monday. No, I'm off on Monday. On Tuesday, I might get called into HR, but that'll be fine.
You're great. Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful to talk to you, and I wish you much success in the new year. Thank you for this opportunity. It's been great.
Well, I don't think I could have said that any better myself. So that is a wrap, everybody.
Bye.